Greetings, sacred beings. Welcome to Sacred HERstory podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Natasia, and today for our Sacred HERstory guest speaker, we have Taylor Wilson, aka the Tailored Spirit. She is a transformational life coach and meditation teacher who helps women spiritually and emotionally heal through embodied practices. As an intuitive guide, her works centers around dropping out of the mind and into the body to reclaim voice, presence, and power. Oh my gosh, I love this, Taylor. Welcome to Sacred Her.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is incredible. So, how did you get into this and this intuitive guide? I'm just like, I always find it fascinating when I connect with intuitives because it's like, okay, how did you come to be? How did you realize you were intuitive? Was it something you've always, noticed within yourself, or was it recently developed? I know that was a bunch of questions, so start
Mhm.
wherever feels comfortable for you.
Yeah, thank you. So I remember being a very magical child. I remember feeling things deeper than it felt was normal. I remember feeling like the people that I would share my emotions with didn't really fully understand how deeply I felt them. That was kind of how it started. And I would pick up on things like I would come home from school and feel nauseous sometimes after being around so many people. I felt like I could feel people's stories. And I think a lot of empaths relate to this of I could feel their stories in my body. So that was kind of how my gifts showed up when I was younger. My real like spiritual awakening happened after a release of an entity actually. So it was a very intense um spiritual experience that I had that kind of cracked me open out of not believing in anything and not having any kind of spiritual practice into this world of like, what just happened to me? What did I just experience? And what do I do now with this? And that's kind of what sent me down on the path of being a seeker and being curious and really coming to understand that I was experiencing energy and I was experiencing this whole other world that had always been there, but that I just didn't know about.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I heard the entity, and I don't know about you, but sometimes that word sound kind of like resonates kind of like ooh, spooky and scary.
Yeah.
You know, how was it for you when all was said and done, here you're going through it. What was the experience like through your awakening?
Yeah. My first experience was on the more scary, dark side. And through my experience, because I've performed spirit clearings before, it's not the main part of my work, but I've experienced experiences with darker entities, and then I've experienced what I perceive more to be spirits or like ghosts, more apparitions. The way that I interface or have with entities in the past is it feels more like thought forms that have kind of taken on a persona. And my experience of like the darker side of the spectrum is that they're just more confused. They're just more lost from the light. And part of what I have found my role in supporting them, because really it's about supporting them and reconnecting them, it is that. It's of being compassionate to this being that is so lost and so fragmented from the light. And so offering a healing for them and then also the space. It's a lot of kind of like space clearings that I've done. Um, Again, it's not the main part of my work. It's just something that spirit was like, and you will do this, and this will be a part of your experience.
That's incredible. I love it. And everything that you're saying definitely resonate with me because
Yeah,
that whole woo-woo part, but it's really a part of our lives that has been kind of like pushed away, right? Like it was
yeah,
been swept under the rug. And if you practice in this work, you're going to hell type of
yeah.
thing, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm so glad that you're talking about this and we're able to discuss this a little bit further because you really touched on a point part where, these entities or beings, these not in this physical body, have feelings and still dealing with their own stuff, and you give healing for them. And I think that's just incredible to really acknowledge and feel. Was this something like, how did you realize that this was the work that you had to do? Like you said, spirit guided
Yeah.
you in a sense, but how did you know and how long have you been doing that?
Yeah, I didn't know at the beginning that that's what was happening. It just kind of happened. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, one of the deepest parts of spirituality is when you're just listening and it's just happening. You're an active participant in the unfolding of something that is beyond you. And that's what I found myself in the middle of. And it was after that first experience that really shocked me. I was shocked and very confused. And I started speaking with priests, and I just felt very unheard in what I was sharing. And I felt like I was being um, kind of kind of like shepherded down this path that didn't feel resonant. And I started talking to therapists and was like, they're going to put me on some meds if I keep sharing like this. And I knew that it was missing something. And I came to find out through being in conversation with women that I felt safe with that they were missing an understanding of energy. It was energy that was lacking in all of these conversations. Um, and so once I started to understand energy more, I started to understand my experience, and I started to understand, okay, I was holding on to so much pain. I was holding on to so much pain. And I was in a relationship at the time that had a lot of pain in it. And looking back, now hindsight is a gift, right? Um, but what I feel that entity was that darkness that just started to form and form and form, that was feeding off of my pain. But also when I would experience joy, I felt that going very quickly. And it really was through an opening of my heart that had happened where I felt the cracks starting to happen, and I just let love in. And I didn't even know that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
And that's why with my work, I call myself like a spiritual life coach, a transformational life coach, all the labels, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I'm a devotee of love, because my experience showed me that there is nothing more powerful than an open heart. There is nothing more powerful than divine sacred love. The purest form of love is that infinite, unconditional place.
Mhm.
And somehow, subconsciously, in that experience, I was guided to that place. And that experience really truly showed me, again, nothing more powerful than love. Love is the answer. And when you can connect to that, there is no place for fear, there is no place for darkness. That is the deepest part of my work.
Of this, preach. Preach. I no, this is incredible. Everything you said just resonates so deep, and you say it so clearly and so convicting, where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, this girl is preaching. And I love how you said beyond the title, I am a deity of love. And we all are, right? We
Yeah,
just forgotten.
yeah, absolutely.
So it's like this time of reclaiming. So walk us through, like, as the spiritual transformational deity of sacred love, divine sacred love, how do you walk your clients through this? I'm curious.
Yeah. So my journey was a lot of reading the books, a lot of listening to the podcasts, and I was connected to my mentor through a women's circle. And I studied deeply with her personally for a year and went through her methodology that she created under the Awaken Life School. My mentor's name is Narayani Gaia. She's amazing, amazing. And after doing like the personal work on myself, the methodology that I received was just, it made sense. It made sense beyond my logical mind. It made sense in my body and in my heart. And I realized there was nothing else that would be more fulfilling than really like bringing forward this gift that I felt I had been given through meeting my mentor and receiving this work. It just felt like such a gift.
Mhm.
And I went into 4 years of deep training with her on the methodology. So I've been facilitating that methodology, which is essentially embodied awakening. It's 12 activations that support you in fully claiming your body, fully claiming your power, and eventually becoming a vessel for your dharma and your sacred purpose, which was exactly the journey that I went on. So I like to say that my biggest testimonial is myself, from going from like this place of deep numbness and deep just running away from my pain because I knew it could consume me, to this sense of personal power that feels like it comes from beyond me. Um, and I want that for my clients. Like, I want that reclamation of self because it is so powerful. And this is how you change your relationships with yourself, first and foremost, but a deeper connection to others, a deeper connection to the divine. So I take them through this methodology through somatic healing, nervous system regulation. That's always first. Intuitive play, which is so fun, and then eventually, like, what do you want to create? And that's kind of the place that we dive into towards the end of our containers together.
I love it. That's so beautiful. And, that whole nervous system regulation, how we need that so much now.
Absolutely.
And you were talking about, personal power, and how do you know that you attain it?
Mm.
Like, and how do you know you attain it or your clients attain this as
Mm.
well?
Yeah, I love that question. There is a shift in where confidence comes from, and you can see it in their faces. It's almost like a shock to the system of, wait, this is within me? What do you mean? And when I see that spark, I'm like, they found it. It's now just about feeding that fire even more through taking bold action on this new thing that you found within yourself. Because the more you take action on a confidence that doesn't come from comparison, it doesn't come from validation outside of yourself. That's really how I describe like authentic confidence, is it comes from you. It does not come from comparison. It comes from a deep knowing of how to hold yourself through all of your emotions, and a compassion for yourself when you feel like you're quote unquote falling off the wagon, or quote unquote not where you're supposed to be, right? It's like a sense of home that is your heart, that is your body. And then taking bold action, that's kind of how you build trust with yourself, right? Or with others. Like, the more that someone shows up for you, the more you're going to trust them. Same thing with yourself. The more you lean in and you show up, which looks different day to day, right? Like, sometimes showing up is laying in bed and watching Love is Blind, which is what I do. And then sometimes it's fully like, I'm gonna do this thing even though I'm feeling some anxiety right now, but I'm gonna lean in because I know I have me. And I think it's like that backbone feeling of like, I got me. And that's where the self power really comes in.
That is so beautifully said because how many, I'm over here, how many of us, and I know I'm talking about myself too, like where I gave my power away,
For sure.
and how often do we do that, right? And we don't may not even know that we're doing it just by simply like when you know you should be saying no and you say yes anyways, that's
Yeah.
a part of giving your power, right? And would you agree that would be something where you're like, you kind of like lose trust in yourself a bit when you do
Yeah.
like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 So I love how you're talking about this and, how that feeling feels like in your body. And I'm like thinking in my head if I want to go back to this because we talked about entities and this pain, and that pain was giving up and moving through that. What is your take on that?
Moving through pain.
Moving through pain, and then here's this entity that we're dealing with, or would you say that? I'm trying to think of how to word this in a
Mhm.
sense. Let's just keep it with our pain, like our own pain, and how that can keep us stuck and the process of reclaiming that power.
Yeah. I think it really looks different for everybody. And that's like such a vague answer, but I think that in my personal experience, mine was right in front of my face, reflected to me through this entity. Like, I didn't know that's what it was. I thought I had this phobia that was starting to develop of ghosts. So part of me knew that it was something not normal. It didn't feel like just anxiety or just fear. It was straight up terror. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think that all of these things manifest in different ways. Like we talk about patterns repeating, right? Of if you don't learn from a previous relationship, right? If or let's take it a step further. Let's say I have a client that had a very emotionally abusive father growing up. And so
Hmm.
they have low self-worth because they were never validated by a man before. They were actually completely like dismantled by a man. The likelihood of this woman entering into a relationship that is not serving her, that is emotionally abusive, is very high because she doesn't have the tools to know anything different. Your nervous system gets accustomed to trauma and to pain. And so it will seek that out. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that person. It means that you haven't had a pattern disrupt of being like, hey, there's another way. Your nervous system needs to start to feel comfortable in the new path, in where you want to go, which is why I do nervous system work first, because it's the foundation really of like your beliefs and what you think is possible for you. If you don't think a healthy relationship is possible for you because you haven't seen it before, you will choose things subconsciously and consciously that validate what you believe to be true about yourself.
Hmm. Yes. I'm like, yes, yes. No, it's so true,
Yeah,
and trauma can look different. It could be anything, and it could be something so small. It's just something that tweaks you kind of outside of your body or outside your norm of even just communicating with yourself, like knowing your body, And so, whew, that's a lot of work. So how long have you been doing this, Taylor? Because I mean, you express things so clearly, and wow, it's very impressive. And
thank you.
I'm sure you're making such a huge difference with all the individuals you're working with.
Thank you. Yeah. I I've been in play with holding space for about 4 years, all throughout the training with my mentor. I would say the last year and a half or so was when I really went deep into it. And that came after a dark, dark, dark night of the soul period of my life where I had lost my job at the time. So my financial income was totally gone. And I had really put my work on the back burner to support someone else's dream. And it was slowly eating away at me.
Mm.
And after that, 2 weeks after that, not even, I was in a hurricane in Asheville, North Carolina. So I lost my job, I lost my financial sense of safety, and then my physical safety was threatened. Like my entire town was ravaged by this storm, landslides, hurricane, flooding. It was, it really felt like every form of safety was being shaken from underneath of me. And I went into this full place of surrender with my work of like, I don't know what to do. And it was very humbling of I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know what I'm going to do. What show me, like spirit, show me the way. And it became my work refined so much. And I feel like I just zeroed in. So in the last year and a half, that's where I've been like really showing up more. But I've facilitated circles and I've worked with people here and there throughout those 4 years. But definitely the last year and a half, way more in person events, which I love to hold women's circles, and then online private coaching with clients.
I love it. That's beautiful. There was something you said, surrender, and it's like, spirit, show me the way.
Yeah,
What is this surrendering to you?
yeah. It's a combination of trust. There's a deep piece of trust. It's really hard to surrender if you don't trust where you're going.
Mm.
And I think human nature, we're so curious and we question so much and we want to know the answer with certainty. But we live in a life that's full of impermanence. Like nothing is permanent in this life. And I think the experience that I had of seeing the truth of that, of like even my connection to nature was I felt like I had to kindle because I was like, you're supposed to be the thing that is my anchor. And you just swept everything away. What does that mean? And surrender and flow was the things that I really got. So I listened to that message that I was being very much right in front of me. I feel like that's my pattern is these things are just right in front of me. I have to look at them. And we don't have to, right? Like it's a choice. We right. So the leaning in and the trust is huge. And it's also taken a lot of years. Trust is the last part of the work that I do with my clients for a reason because it's the hardest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
surrender. Yeah.
it is, and I'm like, I'm listening because everyone's story looks different. And
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like, well, what does it look like to you? And what,
Yeah.
because this is your story and how you found this place of where you're at. And then you're doing all this work. And for me, like I'm listening and it seemed like such a short amount of time, like, and as humans, the human beings we are, immediate gratification is one of our things now,
Yeah.
with having cell phones and stuff. But was this something, because you say 4 years, was this a 4-year thing of learning and studying, or would you say it went beyond that?
I think what do you mean by it went beyond that?
Like, did it take longer than just 4 years? Was there a whole process? Because, like I said, most of us think, oh, it should be like this. Everything should be done
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
in a matter of a year, in a matter of 4 years. Okay, so 4 years, it should take me 4 years to be healed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's why I was like, I'm asking like, what is this time frame? Does it look that way to you, or is it, I guess, is it linear? Is it all over the place? Is it
Yeah.
like a, what was your journey like for you?
Yeah. It was not linear at all. And I think it's really hard. It's easy to be really hard on yourself and to tell yourself I should be somewhere else. I should have healed this by now. I should be past this. And I experienced a lot of that. I still do sometimes, right? Like I am still a student even though I'm in a facilitator role now and I claim my role as a leader. I still am an eternal student. Um, and I think for me having grace with myself and a lot of compassion has been the most important part because it's really easy to put pressure on yourself, especially like in a facilitator role to like be perfect and to do the work. And especially when I was younger, I felt a lot of pressure to prove myself because I was holding space for women that were a lot older than me, but I knew I could help them because I work with energy and I could hear the energy. And so, how do I stand in my truth without needing to prove myself? That's something that I kind of keep coming back to. And um, yeah, it's been definitely a spiral, definitely not linear. And I think when we give ourselves a time frame, yes, set goals and feel into those goals and move from that place of that's why a big part of my work is embodiment because it's really about the feeling. It's not the thing that you want. It's what that thing is going to give you that you really want. So if you can feel that right now, oh my God, what freedom you get to experience. You don't actually need anything outside of yourself and the here and now moment. And so a lot of the journey also has been about finding joy in just being alive and being present. And can this be enough in this moment? Can what I feel in my heart, and it makes me emotional, can what I feel right now in my heart be enough in this moment? And if the answer is yes, I've done my work. I've
Mm,
done my work, and everything else on top of that is a gift and a blessing. And then I get to celebrate and rejoice. And I think right now, with where we're at in life, it's really hard to find those pockets of peace and those moments of joy because, like you were saying, like we are inundated with all of these things telling us to be sad and telling us to do all these things. And we need to take care of ourselves and we have to be in celebration. We have to be in joy. I did a post the other day about how, and I kind of go on tangents. So let me know if I'm
no,
flying
you're
off
doing
the
great. No, please bring on the tangents. Your
handle.
favorite post.
I did a post on, and it was inspired by another post I had seen, but it was basically how I'm not in joy and celebration and play and dance because I don't see what's going on. I'm in celebration, joy, play, and dance because I do see and because we need it. We need art. We need beauty. We need to be reminded that this life is not just doom and gloom all the time. So, how can we be with both? Like, how can we know that death is happening right now and still celebrate life? How can we grieve, but still also remember that on the other side of grief is love? It's another form of love. Everything right now, I feel, is pointing us back to ourselves and pointing us back to love. So, how can we create a little bit of space in between what's happening, not ignore it, but not lose ourselves in it? We have to remain sovereign. So, and that's part of that spiral, right? Like, that's part of the human experience. It's like this dance between I'm a spiritual being, but I'm also having a human experience. I'm going to go meditate for an hour. And then maybe the next night, I'm going to go have a margarita because I can and I want to.
Let's be real, right? I
Yeah,
love the word sovereign that you use. What is your definition of sovereign?
I love that question. To me, a sovereign is like really energy hygiene and being aware of where's my energy right now. And I'm in a constant dance of that because I'm on social media posting for to get this message out there and to share my medicine and to connect with people. And so I'm also scrolling a lot. And so it's like in any moment, where is my energy right now? Am I anxious? Why, where is this anxiety coming from? Where is this fear coming from? And like, can I bring it back in this moment? To me, that's sovereignty and that's autonomy over your thoughts and your spiritual body.
I love that. Autonomy.
Mm.
Can you explain energy hygiene?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think the two biggest parts is knowing how to stabilize your energy, knowing how to really ground yourself, and then clearing your energy. Really, really clearing your energy. At the end of the day, clearing it on a breath. We're constantly clearing energy. We exhale how many times a day? So to use that,
Log, it keeps it alive.
yeah, exactly. It's a natural part of our makeup. So consciously clearing your energy. And it also makes me think of how I was taught um, with codependent patterns of humans, and that there's two forms of codependent patterns, which is where your energy is either outside of you and it's on other people, it's on situations as a means to control to feel safe. So that's one. The other codependent pattern is that I'm going to hide and I'm going to stay quiet and I'm going to contract and I'm not going to take up space to control the environment and to feel safe. That's not energy hygiene. And it's false senses of safety. And it works for a while, just like putting armor over your heart is going to work for a while until the armor becomes a cage.
Right.
And so, how can I feel safe? That's also part, I think, of the energy hygiene is how can I feel safe in any moment to the best of my ability, right? Because sometimes our environments are crazy. Like when I was surviving a freaking hurricane, I was not thinking about my energy hygiene. I was like, how do I get water? How do I get food? How am I going to flush my toilet? Like there are other things that happen in life that are like I need to take care of
Tease.
less.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to take care of the right. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, shelter, safety, and then what's next. And
Right.
that's where that energy hygiene comes in of really grounding yourself, clearing your energy, and being. It's like that sovereignty piece again of what are all of these different ways outside of myself that I'm trying to feel safe so that I can navigate the world, and how can I take my power back and reclaim that so that it comes from me and so that I get to decide, I get to choose.
Mm. Do you have like a routine or exercise in coming back and
Yeah,
regulating the nervous system?
yeah, definitely. It kind of looks a little bit different. Usually where I go to is a feeling of overwhelm. So my pattern is feeling a lot of pressure and feeling like I need to make a decision right now or the freaking world's going to end. Not true. So I will shake. I do a lot of somatic practices. For me, dance, and I think we talked about this um, last time, but dance has become a huge part of my practice. So dancing my anxiety, dancing my fear, dancing my joy, dancing my celebration, and really using my body as a tool to move energy. I'll also do some sweeping, so like clearing my field, that's a big thing. I'll take baths. It's a lot of clearing, really, is where my practice goes with like the energy hygiene. But I also meditate, not every day, but I do my best to do some kind of a mindfulness practice, whether it's journaling or meditation. Those are kind of like the off the mat practices in a way of supporting the day-to-day mindfulness. A lot of grounding, a lot of nature walks. Those are the main things I would say for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Not to put you on the spot, didn't we say we're gonna do like some kind of I don't know, was it a somatic practice or something that you were willing to share with us?
Yeah, I we talked about like a grounding practice. So a little bit less somatic, a little bit more energy. But
Are you open to sharing with us like a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of that?
We can do like a little grounding activation meditation type of thing.
Let's do it.
Okay, nice. Um, so to all of our listeners out there, if you're in the car or in a plane, I'm gonna invite you to pause this and come back to it later.
Right, disclaimer.
Disclaimer. So wherever
Mm.
you're at, wherever you're tuning in, just start by taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And continue to deepen your breath. And let your body begin to relax, letting your tongue relax in your mouth. And breathing and letting your belly relax. Letting the shoulders relax, letting the yoni relax. And feeling the contact that your body is making with the earth. So bringing all of your awareness to those sit bones, to your feet, and breathe. And just notice that sensation of support, that sensation of being held, and breathe. And just for fun, just through your intention, letting your energy travel down deeper past the floor, dropping a grounding cord. And this grounding cord is alive. This beautiful sacred connection that you have to the earth, feeling yourself plug into the mother. And breathe. And really let yourself sink down, let your energy sink down, keeping your awareness in the downward direction, letting it travel past the dirt, past the worms and the mycelium network of the earth. And notice that as you're connecting, that the earth is also coming up to meet you. This sacred mother that has supported every breath you've ever taken, every drop of water you've ever consumed, every morsel of food you've ever eaten. She has supported you. You are supported. You are safe. And let that grounding cord connect all the way to the center of the earth if you can. Maybe you can even perceive that fiery magma core of the mother. Maybe it reminds you of that fire within you. And from this rooted, grounded place, notice what it feels like to be supported. And wherever you're at, maybe there's an intention that you've been working with or a prayer that's been in your heart. I want to invite you to bring that prayer into the moment as you remain grounded. And notice what it feels like in your body to be supported in that prayer. Really let yourself feel the physical experience of being supported in your desire, in your healing. Because the truth is that you are. Notice what it feels like to tune into it from a stable nervous system, from a feeling of safety. You are safe to have what you want and be who you are. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, exhaling through the mouth. Take one more in through your nose and exhale through the mouth. And allow yourself to come back into the space, into the moment in 3, 2, 1.
Mm, thank you for that.
Welcome.
Really felt grounded, really needed that too.
Mm-hmm.
I hope all you who are listening feel the same way. And thank you, Taylor, for facilitating that grounding experience.
You're welcome.
I feel like there's so much more we can talk about. I love that embodiment and the movement, and just a breath, just that reminder to come back to our breath is so powerful as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you start all your sessions like this with that grounding experience?
Usually I'll do some form of a drop-in stuff with my in-person circles and my in-person offerings because people sometimes they come in and they're like, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know that girl. I don't really feel safe maybe in this moment. So it just provides a little bit of safety when they come in. And then in my private client session, sometimes it depends on if they're ready to go or if I can tell it's a little scattered. So it just brings the energy in and helps the session.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Agree. I so agree.
Mhm.
Is there anything right now that you feel that you wanted to add to before we before I ask the closing questions? Is there anything you feel like there's a need for you to share?
I think I want to speak just a little bit back into kind of the times that we're living in and give people the permission to not need to overconsume. Like, please take care of yourself. This is a crazy time to be alive. It's really hard to be human right now. And we need community more than ever. So, whatever that looks like for you, if it's going to a yoga studio, if it's going to an art class, if it's taking like martial arts, I don't care what it is. If it serves you and it serves your healing and your joy, please give yourself permission to do that because we need people in their medicine. We need people in their magic. We need the poets writing poetry. We need the artists making art. We need more community and we need more celebration. So I want to offer that to myself, to you, and to your audience that you're allowed to tune out for a little bit and you're allowed to take care of yourself because it's needed.
Thank you for that gentle reminder.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So as we close, Taylor, what is something, what is a piece of wisdom you wish your younger self had known? I know you're young too, but you're younger. Let's go younger.
I would love to. I think she just needed to hear over and over again that it's okay and that it's going to get better. Um, and yeah, that it's okay and that there's nothing wrong with her and that it's not abnormal to feel things as deeply as she felt them. And I think I assume there's a lot of empaths listening to this that can relate with a story of being like, people just don't get it when I say that I feel this way. And it can be so disheartening and so discouraging. So, and I still tell myself that, right? Of like, there's nothing wrong with how deeply I feel. And it's actually my capacity to feel that has become my medicine in this world. So all of the things that we think are wrong with us are actually things that make us so special and so unique. And it's medicine for this world. So I would say that to her, to that there's nothing wrong with her and that she's beautiful and that she is going to do really awesome things.
So I love that. And yes, you are, Taylor, and you already are. And then, what is something that you feel is important for you to share with our audience now as they walk in their own becoming?
Mm. Have grace with yourself. Have grace with yourself and breathe. And remember that there is something that waits for you on the other side of your pain, that it's not the only thing that you're ever going to feel or experience. That if you can feel pain as deeply as you feel it, imagine how deeply you can feel joy and love and freedom. And that's what waits for you on the other side of pain. So be gentle with yourself and lean in to the support that is there for you. If you don't feel like you have it, seek it, because there is more than what you're feeling right now.
That is so beautiful. We need that reminder.
Yeah.
That reminder. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing your wisdom here, Taylor. Your
You.
knowing. Thank you for letting us have a peek in your journey. Thank you for your truth, your love, and your sacredness here in this space. So, beautiful souls, if today's story moved you, inspired you, and reminded you that you're not walking this path alone, I invite you to follow and subscribe to the Sacred HERstory podcast. Also, if you want to connect with Taylor, her information will be in the description. Feel free to reach out to her. She is an amazing woman, young woman, full of wisdom, to help ground you and come back to love. And thank you for following along on this journey. And this is where real women share their raw, unfiltered becoming, the sacred, the messy, and the powerful. So thank you again for joining Sacred Her, for we are all Sacred Her, sacred, highly exalted rebel. And what that means is saying yes to yourself and trusting in your own inner wisdom. Thank you.